Okay. We're talking about special triangles 45, 45, and 90. First, you have to be able to identify hypotenuses. So, on any given triangle, you need to be able to identify where the hypotenuse is. So, if I have a triangle here, there's my hypotenuse. If my triangle is here, there is my hypotenuse. If my triangle is here, there is my hypotenuse. And I guess if my triangle were here, there's my hypotenuse. So that's the first thing that you need to be able to do. The other thing that you should recognize also is that if I have a triangle, and this is 90 degrees, and they tell me that this is 45 and that this is 45 degrees, I should recognize that, yes, this is my hypotenuse, okay? And if I call this x and I call this y, this is 45 degrees, so whatever this length is, this length right here, y, let's say it was 10, guess what? This is 45 as well. This side is also going to be 10 because these angles are congruent. Therefore, their sides are congruent because this is an isosceles triangle. So when I get a 45, 90, 45, excuse me, 45, 45, 90 triangle, there's two things that I'm looking for right away. One is the hypotenuse, and two, I'm trying to determine if I can tell right away which sides are equivalent, are the same. Okay, and that's going to make sense here in just a moment. So, for instance, with this particular one, this is a 45, 45, 90. I know this is the formula that I have to use. I'm going to identify h and my two legs. My hypotenuse, which is right here, and that happens to be 4, and my two legs. This one is x and this one is y. Here's the 45 degree angle, it's opposite of x. Here's the 45 degree angle, its opposite is y. So I also know that x is going to equal y. So whichever angle, whichever side I get first, x or y, I know that the other one is the same. Okay? And that's only for 45, 45, 90. So let's go. I have h is equal to a leg, times the square root of 2. Do I know the hypotenuse? Yes, I do. It is 4. I'm going to just pick a leg. X. Okay? How am I going to get rid of that square root of 2? I'm going to divide both sides by the square root of 2. Once I do that, those cancel. That leaves me with 4 square root of 2 equals x. But I know that I cannot leave that like that. I cannot leave the square root of 2 in the denominator. So that means that I have to multiply by 1. And when I do that, I don't have any room. That leads to 4 times the square root of 2 all over the square root of 2 times the square root of 2, which happens to be the square root of 2 squared. Okay? And that leads to 4 square root of 2 all over 2, because the square root of 2 squared is 2. Okay? I'm not done yet. That leads to, that cancels, 2 square root of 2. So x is equal to 2 square root of 2. But I know if x equals y, guess what y also equals? Square root of 2. And this is what Mr. Smith was trying to tell you earlier today. If they give you the hypotenuse, you know that the leg is automatically this. Half times the square root of 2. Half of 4 is what? It's 2 times the square root of 2. Okay? That's what he was trying to tell you earlier today. Half of whatever the hypotenuse is times the square root of 2. Okay? That one was a little tricky. Let's see if I have one that's not so tricky. think they're all tricky like that. All right, so let's do one with 30, 60, 90. I have to know these rules. H is equal to the short leg times 2, and the long leg is equal to the short leg times the square root of 3. So let's see what they give us. I know the hypotenuse. Okay, so I can write that down. The hypotenuse is 10. I know that my long leg is x, and that my short leg is y. How did I figure that out? The hypotenuse is 90. Then that means that this is 60. That means this has to be 30. Here is the side opposite of 60, which is the bigger angle between 30 and 60. That's why it's long. And then the short one, y. So let's plug and chug. H equals short times 2. H is 10 equals short, y times 2. 10 is equal to 2y. Divide both sides by 2. 5 is equal to y. Okay? And then I can use my next to find the long one. Long is equal to short times the square root of 3. Long is x. Short is 5 square root of 3. And that's it. Okay? That's how you find those. So you have to first identify your formulas. Then you write down the hypotenuse, long and short. You figure out from your picture which is which. Okay? Let's do a couple more. Let's look at this one. What kind of triangle is this? This is a 90, 60, and that means that's 30. So I have to use my rules that say H is equal to short times 2, and long is equal to short times the square root of 3. Okay? My hypotenuse here is 3. My long leg is A, and my short leg is B, because the one that's opposite of 60 is A. Now, can I use that little rule that I said about half square root of 2? No, because that's only for 45, 45, 90. So here we go. H is equal to short times 2. H is 3. Short is B times 2. 3 equals 2B. Divide both sides by 2. And you get 3 halves is equal to B, or 1.5 is equal to B. Okay, so all that's left is finding long. I'm going to go long is equal to short, square root 3. Long is A. Short is short is 1.5 square root 3. Okay? I personally would leave it like this. Alright? Just looks a little neater, but either one. Let's look at this one. What kind of triangle is it? 45, 90, 45. I know that I have to use this formula. Okay? I also know that N is going to equal M. Okay? So, excuse me, my hypotenuse is equal to 7. Okay? Now, off the bat, since they've given me the hypotenuse, I know that the leg, M, is going to be 3.5 square root of 2. Okay? Or, let's see, 3.5, 7 over 2 square root of 2. Okay? But let's check that out. Let's do some math for that. Okay? The hypotenuse is 7 is equal to the length of leg times the square root of 2. Divide both sides by the square root of 2. You get 7 over square root of 2. Those cancel, equals m. I can't have that denominator down there, so that's going to be 7 over square root of 2 times the square root of 2 over the square root of 2 equals m. Those are going to cancel. I'm sorry, that's not going to cancel. I apologize. That's going to be 7 square root of 2 times 2 square root of 2, 2, which equals 7 square root of 2 all over 2. Apologize. Those don't cancel. And didn't I say that's what our answer was going to be? It's right there. Okay. The biggest thing to remember, know those formulas. Okay? See you tomorrow.